Clair Obscur's Expedition 33 has the best soundtrack that I've ever heard in a game, period. Just listen to what you get when you open up the game. So for those of you that don't know, if you've been living under a rock for the past couple of weeks, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a turn-based role-playing game developed by French studio Sandfall Interactive and published by Kepler Interactive. It's set in a dark fantasy world inspired by the Belle Epoque era of France. The game follows the 33rd Expedition's quest to end the annual Gamage. That's a mysterious event where a deity known as the Paintress erases all individuals above a certain age. Every year, the Paintress paints a new number on a monolith, counting down from 100. Whatever number she paints becomes the cutoff age. What I mean by that is anybody that's older than that gets erased from existence. So if she writes 34, everybody that's 34 and older kicks the bucket. So don't worry, if there's anything that's going to be a major spoiler in the storyline, I'll be sure to give you guys a heads up, but generally we're going to be just talking about the music today. When I first started playing the game, I noticed something immediately. How good the music is. Seriously, this music is some of the best music that I've ever heard in the soundtrack, period. Like this stands up there with Legend of Zelda, with Pokemon, with everything else that you could imagine that like really sat with you as far as like, oh, that's the best theme song I've ever heard. It's sitting at the same dinner table as them. It is so unbelievably good, and we're going to break all of that down today. As soon as you open up the game, you're greeted with this. This song is called Alicia, and it's very, very important for the storyline. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but you are going to hear this soundtrack again in the future. Just know that it's very, very important. Not only is it the opening title screen, but it also carries a lot of weight as far as what it's used for in the game. So it starts with this simple piano introduction, which is really simple, but it's very powerful. It goes like this. And then it starts going into the part where the vocals come in. Beautiful. So it's simple, and the harmony is really not that complex, and that's going to be something that you're actually going to see in a lot of these songs. The harmony in a lot of these songs is not very complex. It's not very jazz-esque or whatever. They don't use like crazy music theory behind these chords, which is really an interesting point as to why this soundtrack might be the best. Kind of just starts with this like C minor 9 sort of thing. C minor 11, I guess, if you consider that F. And the left hand is just kind of doing the same thing and just walking up the C minor scale. So we're obviously in the key of C minor for this first part. Then it goes into the whole thing. B flat, E flat. So it's very, very simple. There's not a lot going on. You kind of just have the C minor thing, and then eventually once the vocals come in, it goes to F minor. I don't know if it's F minor. E flat. I'm probably missing a chord in there, but it's like generally speaking like pretty simple chords to start out with. But the most fascinating part about this is the build up into the chorus. I'm going to play it for you right now. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. This little pause right here, ready? It's so nice, it adds so much space. Wait until the chorus builds up. Oh my god, all right. We're gonna pause right there, and we're just gonna talk about what's going on, because it's so beautiful. We're in the key of C minor, and you actually have C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, and C. The main important one right here is B flat, because you have two different versions of the minor scales. You have the natural minor scale. You have the natural minor scale, and then you have the harmonic minor scale. The harmonic minor scale raises the seventh of that natural minor scale. So instead of B flat, it's actually B. And why that's important is because if you're harmonizing, let's say the natural minor scale, right, you have E flat, right, F minor, then you would have G minor as your fifth, but instead of having G minor as your fifth, now you have G major as your fifth because you have that sharp seventh. Now, all of a sudden, the harmony, you have that G major in there. What is he doing right here? He's going to an A flat chord, and then it goes to this like weird diminished chord. I think it's a, let me think about this for a second. Yeah, so it really is just, I guess it's really just an A7 chord. Yeah, it's just kind of an A7 chord, but it's just really spread out. So A flat major, up to B flat, and then right here. Oh my God, it's so good. Then he goes to a G7 chord. It's just spread out, you know, spread out pretty wide. I don't know the exact like arrangement that he's putting it in the video, but it's a G major chord. So altogether you have this sort of thing, A flat, then to this. It's so good. But then there's that little walking up line that comes right after that. It's so good. Ready? There's just so much tension with it. There's so much like that wants to be resolved. It's such a good use of dominant chords and diminished chords, and you're gonna see like really good use of diminished chords within this soundtrack. It's unbelievable. Let's do this again. Do that again. There's just so much tension that wants to go back to that C minor, and hint, hint, it does. Ready? This is an awesome use of taking some simple chords, but switching them over, you know, a different chord tone in the chord. So he starts with C minor, and we'll switch patches. So all it's doing is just walking up that C minor chord. And then right here, it's a B flat over a D. To E flat. So in the left hand, you're walking up from C to D to E flat. It's beautiful. I fucked that up. Do it again. A flat, walking down to F. Messed up. Right there. Right there. So good. D diminished. That's the second chord in C minor. So good. And it actually is the seventh chord in E flat, but it's also the second one in D minor, C minor. So good. B flat over D. E flat. A flat, walking down. E flat, C minor over E flat. D diminished. G major. Oh, actually right here, hold on. We gotta pause for a second. Ready? Oh my God. It's so good, and that's a D fully diminished chord. So you're gonna actually see that B flat in there as well. It's so good. This is the second time around. E flat. It's so good. I I just can't help but just listening to the amount of times I've listened to this one video. I've probably gave them like 100 watch hours just on this one video alone. How insane is that? You could tell immediately that this piece was written with deep purpose, right? It has a lot of like tension and release, has a lot of major sort of like emotional parts, right? But no spoilers. If you know, you know why this piece is so interesting. Again, it's called Alicia. You'll find out later. Here's the crazy part. This soundtrack came about by pure chance. He speaks French, so I'm paraphrasing, but he said, I posted a track I've made on an obscure forum I'd never visited before. It was my first time in my life I'd ever posted anything on there, and Guillaume stumbled upon it, even though he never went there either. He emailed me about working together on this game, and then that's kind of how the soundtrack from Expedition 33 came about. It's insane because you have two guys that never visited this one forum before. One guy posted up just this random soundtrack that he made. This other guy who's making Expedition 33 just happened to stumble upon him, and they were like, hey, like, you're really good. Hey, awesome, want to do a video game? Sure. And then that's how it came about. So this soundtrack came together by random people finding each other on the internet. It's wild. So Lorien was given concept art that really helped him understand the tone of the game and how the emotions should feel. I'm guessing he also saw concept art of Lumiere, I'd be shocked if he didn't, which is the main city that the characters live in. Everything is kind of based around Lumiere. Lumiere is a hauntingly beautiful town. It's inspired by the Belle Epoque era of France. That's like the late 1800s to the early 1900s, and it blends European elegance with sort of surreal, magical elements. It's a perfect mix of light and shadow, which is fitting because Clair Obscur literally translates as something in French. I don't know how to say it, but the word means light, dark. Interesting. But beneath the beauty and happiness of Lumiere, there's also this deep, engulfing sadness, because the people of Lumiere live under constant fear of the Gamage. And this is an important detail that's delivered flawlessly by Lorien by taking multiple versions of Lumiere and putting them in the game at their respective spots. Let me explain what I'm talking about. In the first cutscene, in the first game, which takes place in Lumiere, the soundtrack hit me instantly. It's very recognizable, and it's very catchy, and it's very simple. So this is gameplay from Scirocco, so thank you so much for making a full version with no commentary. I'll put the link to the description in the video. This is by Scirocco. Ready?
They'll manage.
You underestimate Lumiere's enthusiasm for the expedition.
Right here. You can see that we have this chord progression that's kind of... And then he's just playing this guitar line over it, right? Oh, sorry. When you're first walking around Lumiere, the melody is very subtle. It has hints of these chords, and it has a very soft presence, but you definitely hear that chord progression sitting underneath. It stamped its identity into my brain immediately. This is the soundtrack of Lumiere. This is what Lumiere sounds like, right? It's got this little guitar version that it starts out with, but then you hear different versions of that melody throughout the game. When the Gamage happens, you hear a much darker version of the same melody.
You did this.
Gentlemen,
Hear it?
that was
It's in the
supposed to be
background right
between
here.
us, yeah?
Wait for the dark piano part. It starts switching. Oh my god, it's giving me chills, bro. Here it is. Oh my god.
Your legacy.
In a way. It's yours too.
So dark and scary. This is at the scene where the very first Gamage happens. It's a very, very dark sort of thing that's going on. And because the game is already linked with that melody and the feelings of warmth and safety, hearing it twisted like this, it just hits you like a brick wall. So you still think of Lumiere, but now it feels tragic. Now it feels sad. Now it feels like the world is ending. Like it's a very interesting thing that the composer did, taking the same melody in a bright context and immediately placing it in this like dark sort of feel. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it just takes Lumiere and it just puts it into this really dark place. And it's really good from a storytelling perspective. I love it. I don't want to spoil anything too much, but at the end of the game, the melody resurfaces in its full form and it ends up sounding a little bit something like this. You obviously get like the whole chorus and stuff in there. You get a choir. So let's add the chorus in there. Oh, that chorus sounds like shit. Hold on. And when it resurfaces in the and later on in the game, I'm not going to spoil it for you. It is so good. It's such a good placement because that song stamped its identity so early on in the game, and it makes you feel comfortable with it. And then all of a sudden, like it's stuck in your brain, and then you hear it again much later in the game. It's so perfectly placed. Like if you haven't completed the storyline, you have to. Holy. It's so good. Now I'm going to get into a slight spoiler somewhere around mid-game, so if you're not around mid-game yet, I would go ahead and skip to this timestamp. There's just a few more tracks that I need to shout out, and you've probably seen it all over Instagram because it's going crazy right now. Monoco's fight. It is wild, it's engaging, it's quirky, it's fun, all at the same time. So let's take a listen to it. Ready? Right here.
If Monoco's not here, that means... Slow as ever, Mobius.
He's such a beast, dude.
Your reflexes remain sharp as ever. I approve. Esquire, did Verso pull you into another adventure?
Alright, so that's Monoco, but listen to the fight.
Peculiar.
Right here. Do you hear the sax part? It's insane.
Here's your card. Brace yourselves.
So it's so funny because we're going to dive in a little bit more on Monoco in just a second, but the next thing I want to talk about is Gestral Village. Gestral Village is probably the only happy music in the game aside from like a couple of side quests and stuff. Gestrals are these weird, goofy creatures who don't understand sarcasm and just love to duel for fun. A Gestral mannequin is actually one of those wooden figures that you can, like adjust their hands and feet and stuff in any pose. Like they're usually like on a little block and you could just like make it do a bunch of weird stuff. And a gesture drawing is by definition a figure drawing. So it's a gesture drawing that's laying. So by definition, let me just get this straight. Hold on. Sorry, I'm the words. I got no sleep last night. Quote, a gesture drawing is a laying in of the action, form, and pose of a model/figure. Typical situations involve an artist drawing a series of poses taken by a model in a short amount of time. So essentially, it's just like a quick figure drawing, right? You find out that they're actually all just gestural mannequins with paintbrushes for heads. And Monoco is the big kahuna of gestrals. He's powerful as fuck, but also still just as quirky and weird as the other gestrals. Like, he's very serious, he doesn't understand sarcasm. They're kind of dumb in a way.
Ladies, could I interest you in a duel?
Definitely a Gestral.
but Monoco just happens to be the really powerful one, right? When you go to fight Monoco to get him on your team, the soundtrack reflects that with an upbeat sort of jazz fusion-esque that just basically rips saxophone the entire time. And eventually, if you listen long enough, there's like a Rhodes solo in there that's just unbelievable. It's so good. It certainly breaks up the melancholy tone of the rest of the game, and it's perfect. Speaking of melancholy music, we can't go any further without mentioning the music in the Manor. So the Manor is this kind of weird spot where you're brought there fairly early on in the game to go find Mael. Mael happens to be there, and you walk into this place not knowing what it is, and it's just this giant labyrinth of just like rich furniture and paintings, and it looks like somebody really wealthy should live there. But in the background, the music is very like dark and mysterious. You don't really find out what the Manor is for the entire game. And I'm not going to spoil it for you right here if you don't know what the Manor is, but it's weird because it seems like a safe spot in the game when you first find it. But then later on in the game, when you find out what it actually is, it's crazy. It ties everything together really well, but you don't know what the Manor is up until, you know, like the end parts of the game, which is crazy. Let's actually break down the Manor music. When you first walk into the Manor, you hear this music. Really hard to hear what the exact chords are, but I'm pretty sure it's something like a C minor to then, I think it's like a B flat over a G minor, or it might be like a G minor 7 or something like that. And then this could be either an A flat major or an F minor 7. And then it goes to G major, definitely goes to G major at the end. So you get this like weird sounding song that has like a lot of really weird timing with the right and the left hand. What we got going on in the left hand? The left hand just kind of goes from like C minor to B flat, like this bass line walks C, B flat, A flat, G. So it goes C minor to then B flat, I think it's over a G minor, and then A flat, then there's an F minor, and then to G major. So C minor, G minor, I think it's like a G minor 7 or something like that, but I can't tell. B flat over G minor, A flat over F minor, G over G major. It's so much fun. I think the soundtrack is actually perfect because it's very mysterious. It's almost like a waltz, but it's not really a waltz. Like it's not in any like 3/4 time signatures, at least I don't think. I think it's in 4/4. It's a very simple melody, but it carries a lot of weight to it. So that's kind of like the common theme that you're going to hear with a lot of these songs. Again, tying everything together. The melody lines are not super intense and they're not super crazy all over the place, except for Monoco's theme. It's very simple, but they carry a lot of weight to it. In my opinion, this has got to be like one of the best games that I've ever played. If not, it's definitely like, I think it's like the best game I've ever played as far as the storyline. The storyline was so deep, it was so intense, it was so, no pun intended, it actually painted me in the picture with them. I would be shocked if it doesn't at least win Best Original Soundtrack too. The game is phenomenal. It's one of the best games that I've ever played in my life. Story-wise, it's so in-depth, it's so deep, there's such creative characters, and it's just one of the best games I've ever played. Like, if you haven't played it, I would encourage you to play it. It's got like over 3 million copies sold already. Congratulations to the team for putting together such an amazing game. Congratulations to Lorien for making one of the best soundtracks that I've heard in a really long time. Let me know what soundtrack you guys want me to break down or talk about next. I'll see you guys in the next video.